Hello guys, today we're gonna talk about, the Goosebumps movie with to Jack Black. Now, I don't own a copy of it, but I have seen it in theaters and on Netflix, so I have seen it, but I don't have a copy of it. So, this movie was released in 2015, it's rated PG. You know what, I will say this, it's very hard to find a good live-action PG movie nowadays. A lot of them are just PG-13. There's a certain art to live-action PG movies that's kind of been lost in recent years, which is a shame. It's an hour 43 long, hour 43 minutes, and was released on DVD in 2016. It has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb with about 65,000-ish user votes. It has a 60% on Metacritic with 29 critics. It stars Jack Black from School of Rock and Dylan Minnette from Prisoners, but he's been in other stuff too, like Don't Breathe. It was directed by Rob Letterman, who did Monsters vs. Aliens. He directed that movie. It has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh, with 152 critics, and 62% by audiences, with about 1,400-ish audience votes. The consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is that Goosebumps boasts more than enough of its spooky source material's kid-friendly charm to make up for some scattershot humor and a hurried pace. It's available to stream on FX now, when I checked, so check to be sure. It's available to rent and buy on Amazon, Google Play, Fandango, Vudu, PlayStation Store, Microsoft Store, iTunes, and YouTube. I love this movie. I will note that this movie is scored by Danny Elfman of various Tim Burton, Sam Raimi projects. It's a very recognizable score. It's so Danny Elfman. But what I love about this movie is that it would have been easy to kind of ride in on the TV show fame. But what I like about this movie is that it focuses on the books. The premise is surrounded by the books and R.L. Stine, the author, as a writer. And I like that. It was refreshing. And it was a nice difference. Of course, I would like to hear the Goosebumps theme in the theaters, but that's a real nitpick. It's not really anything bothersome. It's its own thing, which I love. The positive in this film, a huge positive to me, is the special effects. This movie uses a wide range of special effects. It uses a little CGI, it uses a little stop motion, it uses quite a bit of practical effects. It uses a bit of everything, and I like that a lot. Acting. The acting is very awesome in this movie. Dylan Minnette is very good. I like him a lot. Jack Black as R.L. Stine. I mean, he doesn't look a thing or sound a thing like R.L. Stine in real life, but he does it in a different way. He doesn't just play Jack Black, if that makes sense. He doesn't at all. He plays kind of an alternate R.L. Stine, if you will. The girl who plays Hannah is good. I like her a lot. And the kid's sidekick I thought was a little funny. And in terms of scattershot humor, I guess there may be a few jokes that don't make it, but PG humor is kind of a tricky thing. Because you can't be kiddie humor because you're appealing to a more neutral family audience, but you can't really go full adult either because it could alienate the kids. There's a neat balance, and I think the movie does a good job with that. I love the story in this movie, too. It's kind of Jumanji-ish, but with horror. And I say that in more terms of getting the characters back. But there's a cool twist in the story that I didn't see coming. And I thought was brilliant. And the way the characters handled the revelation of that twist, the characters talk to each other about whether to reveal it or not to a certain character, I think is incredibly well done. In terms of hurried pace, yeah, the beginning feels hurried and the ending feels hurried. The large middle is awesome. It's good. But the beginning, actually no, it's the ending. The beginning is kind of hurried. It does feel rushed, like, oh wow, we went from first day to this? Really? That fast? Wow. I mean, a lot happens. And I like movies where a lot happens, but it does feel a bit disjointed because that hurried pace isn't necessary throughout the movie. It does take the middle kind of takes a more steady pace, while the beginning feels pretty quickly, and the ending just kind of, it just kind of cuts to, it like ends, and then it cuts to like this time later. It does, those are some criticisms of it, but. And I guess another thing is, it's not really scary. It's not scary, it's more atmospheric horror, and more kind of, it's not like fucking like Evil Dead scary, and it's not like jump out of your seat scary. It's more like atmospheric. It's like, I'm in a Halloween mood, so I'm gonna put on this movie because it's a Halloween movie kind of deal. That's kind of and it's a great movie to show to younger kids, to introduce them to horror movies, because it has horror elements, but it's not like, it's more something that kids get into. So it's a good jumping point for kids in horror. And for adults my age, it's nostalgia. It's fucking Goosebumps on the big screen. I mean, what more could you get? I mean, and I love that the way they did it, because it would have been so easy for them to just pick one book and do a movie interpretation of it. And that was planned for a while, but they realized that there was no way they could cover all those stories and books and pay proper tribute to them if they do that format. So they decided to cover all of them in this story, and they did a good, unique job of it. It feels like a very original film. And yeah, there are elements of Jumanji-ish to it, but that's a bare-bone foundation. It's not really anything that noticeable, really. Noticeable to the point where it ruins the movie, at least. And there's enough more in it, like the horror elements, the twist, the likable characters. And the humor isn't as scattershot as Rotten Tomatoes saying. I don't remember not laughing at a joke. I remember at the least chuckling. Could they have made it scarier? Sure, but I think at that point you kind of start to gear more towards PG-13 territory. And in all honesty, I'd rather it not. PG-13 horror, that's a very hard thing to accomplish well. And I'm glad that Goosebumps just kind of maintained a uniqueness to it. Doing a PG horror movie that's aimed towards kids, I think, is better than the alternative. So I like the way it does it. And overall, I loved it. I love everything about it. I think it's a good movie. I wouldn't call it great just because the pace issue is kind of noticeable, and it doesn't, and the story isn't like, there's a lot of awesome touches and things in it, but I wouldn't call it like, you can't really put on the same frame as the Avengers movie or Citizen Kane or anything like that. So it's a solid movie. It's a good movie. And might even be great, but I wouldn't call it the greatest movie ever made. For Goosebumps, it's good. It easily could have bombed being Goosebumps because of how many years have passed since the source material. I mean, it's kind of hard to hype up for something like that, but they did it just at the right time. Did it on the anniversary of it, did nostalgia, cash in on nostalgia of it. They did a good job of doing that. So, yeah, overall it's a good movie. I recommend it, of course. But yeah, go check it out. It's available to buy on DVD too. If you're a fan of Goosebumps, you'll love it. Overall, Goosebumps. If you only like the TV show, you might still like it, but I will warn you, if you want just a movie version of the TV show, I don't think you're going to get it. The movie is a tribute to the books, not the TV show. Although, there are, I think, one noticeable Easter egg in it that's related to the TV show. It's not the TV show. And it's fine, because in all honesty, while the TV show had some great moments, it also had a lot of bad moments. And I think I'm fine with it being left in the 90s and doing something completely different with it. And yeah, that's the best way to call it. It's a fresh look at Goosebumps. It's a fresh new look at Goosebumps in our generation, and I think it'll do great. And I know there's a sequel for a trailer come out, and I'm not going to say anything about it at the moment, but when it comes out, I'll say something. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.